she still can't even stand.
She's so wobbly.
Sean Whaley is furious.
She's upset. But 100%.
International Fight Week, pay-per-view weekend. Welcome in, everyone, to a brand new edition of Axe K Picks, episode 183. Today is Friday, June 27th, 2025. Joe, right off the bat, we got some plays, kid. What do we got?
Dude, getting right into it. You know, for tonight's action, of course, because the PFL is showcasing. Can't go head-to-head with the UFC, so I'll rattle off, man. You know, they're starting in the light heavyweight division. You got Carl Albrechtsen taking on Rafael Xavier. I'll lean Albrechtsen, even though he's a dog in here. I think he has more experience. And your boy Oleg Popov is taking on a UFC vet in Rodrigo Nascimento, as he should. He's the favorite, and you got to take him. I bet you would agree with that. Same thing with the next fight for the lightweights. Bellagio Ali Walsh, Muhammad Ali's grandchild, is professional now, so he's in the pro ranks and he's taking on Ronnie Gibbs. Got to take Bellagio Ali Walsh. Probably going to take him via KO TKO as well. So. And then another one, man, 3 in a row, guys that you favor. Alexander Romanov, as a dog price, I think you see some value based off how Valentin Moldavsky's fought. So let's fade the Russian and go with Alexander Romanov. Plus 155, take a dog there. I like the value.
Nice.
Shoeface is fighting Antonio Carlos Jr. He's taking on Simeon Powell. And Simeon Powell is an up-and-coming star, but I don't know. I'm going to take the vet, and he's a dog. So give me Shoeface. Give me Cara de Zapato. I like him in that one. Dalton Rosta gets his, heated rivalry rematch with Aaron Jeffrey. And Aaron Jeffrey's no joke, but I'm going to take the, surging star in Dalton Rosta. I think he's coming with some vengeance and is a playable minus 140 on the money line. So the top 3 fights are big names. Bantamweight matchup, Sergio Pettis. At his dog price plus 220, I think you got to smash that because Rafion Stotts at times hasn't shown up, and he may not hear as a favorite. It doesn't have that positive of a record. So give me Sergio Pettis as a dog at plus 220. Co-main event, Phil Davis, resurgence, man, a renaissance in his late stage of his career. And I think he's going to fight for the title and get to that championship fight and win the $500,000 now. We're at $500,000. Minus 400 for Mr. Wonderful against Sullivan Cauley, who technically really shouldn't be there if you know what happened last time. So, and then the main event, a middleweight matchup between Fabian Edwards and Josh Silveira. He's making a step down. I think Fabian Edwards is comfortable there. Big favorite, minus 450. Got to smash him some way. I think he's the victorious side. Maybe you can make some sort of parlay to get you some better odds on all the heavier favorites. But you got some dogs in there as well, and that's for the PFL semifinals.
I love it. Starting to show off with some picks. Joe, good luck in the PFL. We got a great episode for you guys today. We'll recap UFC Baku, talk about the whole John Jones thing, International Fight Week, UFC 317. Got some picks for you there. The Problem Child, this weekend, he will take on Julio Cesar Chavez. Tomorrow, we got some news, and then we'll end it in BKFC with Joey. And by the way, Deontay Wilder is fighting in Wichita, Kansas.
Tonight, right?
Tonight, yep.
Yeah.
So cannot wait for that. The Bronx Bomber is back. All right, kid, let's start in Azerbaijan. I know people are saying it was crazy, like trying to get out of there. They were kind of rushing the fighters. Like once your obligations for, because I know the WWE's having their pay-per-view tomorrow in Saudi Arabia, but they were trying to rush all the Americans and everyone kind of out. So crazy stuff. They were going not the best time.
I saw the crowd leave early as well. Maybe also the fans had to deal with a little bit of the infrastructure as well. So
yeah, I just don't think they were very fond of. Oh, sorry, I got a text from my next door neighbor.
Oh, hey, a lot going on over there and over here.
Yeah, anyway, but yeah, over there as well. And I honestly think some people were just falling asleep because of the main event. And I don't know why. 5-0, I had it. Khalil Roundtree Jr., and he went in there with a torn meniscus. He said he tore it during camp. Was not going to back out of the fight. Did not show it. Was tearing up the leg of Jamal Hill. I had a 5-0. He was a very easy fight
hittable target. Hittable target Jamal was.
What'd you think?
Yeah, that's exactly right. Khalil did his job, right? He played his game, fought at his own pace. I mean, he dictated everything in that fight. So, maybe used to, that is an advantage, I think, in traveling overseas, as he's done so often in his career. And you fly to Azerbaijan, and you're used to the time change, you're used to the hostile environment, the altitude maybe. He's probably more adapt to be on the road, so to speak. That is with teams and with fighters and even ourselves. Some people respond better to the travel that it takes, and the weight cuts is still involved, all that. He did a fantastic job doing what he needed to do out of there. They were trying to bring some bad blood between the two of them, and you see where he stands and the character that Khalil Roundtree has. He just nipped it in the butt, and it's all business. At the end of the day, they're fighters, and they got to fight, and they settle in the octagon, and he did just that. I do agree. I think it was 5-0. Like I said, Jamal Hill was a hittable target. And he's on a down slope right now, right? It's three
in a row.
Luckily, on his forsake, didn't collect a knockout. It was two prior knockouts consecutively. So at least we saw a little more durability to get to the judges, even though it seems like he was seeing ghosts in there. That's what I felt like. It like brought me back to 2018 Sam Darnold. I freaking seeing ghosts out there. I mean, like, what are we doing? So, partly probably didn't show up. I hate to say, like I said, the traveling and everything that came into effect. You're going through the same thing as your opponent. So I feel like you're on a even playing field, and you could make some excuses and stuff, but at the end of the day, it's better to own it and then just move on from there, because the light heavyweight division still needs Jamal Hill, regardless of him being on that 3-fight skid. So looking up for Khalil. He's a guy you got to beat if you want to get to the title. I feel like right now that was Jamal Hill, but Khalil Roundtree just took his place.
Yeah, he moved up 3 spots to number 4 in the light heavyweight division. I think a match between him and Yuri for number 1, or maybe Carlos Ulberg, but I don't know. I don't think Carlos Ulberg really did anything in that last fight. So I don't know. Maybe Khalil versus Yuri.
I think that's violence to me right there.
Yeah.
And man, Carlos Ulberg, I think that would be a good matchup as well. Maybe a little more slow pace. How he wants to fight. Yuri's like head down, want to take your head off. Carlos Ulberg could want to take the technical approach. And Khalil Roundtree, I think he's willing to oblige either way. So he's a good matchmaker for the guys there. Sean Shelby, Mick Maynard. They'll have fun with him.
Yeah, absolutely. So shout out Khalil Roundtree getting the job done in Baku. The co-main event, the chief support, like I like to say, Nacho, man. I thought he fought a good fight. He definitely lost the fight, though. Rafael Fiziev
too many looping shots, spinning attacks. Like, I like the creativity. That's what makes him, La Jala. But damn, man, that's when you're fighting a guy who is just so precise and efficient. He's gonna eat you up every time, and that's what you saw. Rafael Fiziev. I mean, I like him right where he's at this spot at 155. Man, he's knocking on the door. He looked good. Did what he had to do at home. Ignacio Bahamondes as well. I don't think stock dropped too much. He went the distance.
No, I don't either.
With a guy who could compete for the title at any moment now. So I think it was a great fight. Technical, but I just saw that it wasn't the best IQ fight for a younger Ignacio Bahamondes. But see, that age, he's got plenty of time, and we could surely see him come back with a vengeance, man.
Yeah, and sometimes this could be the best thing for you. Losing, getting right back onto the horse, and learning from your mistakes. And shout out Rafael Fiziev, man. First win in about 2-3 years. So it was good to see him back in his home country.
Looking good.
In Azerbaijan.
Everything, man. Impressive performance.
Not that impressive performance, even though he did get the split decision win. Curtis Blades, I just don't know what to do with the guy. I thought he won the fight barely, but, on a newcomer like that, and, you're number 4 in the world. Like,
was it arguable he lost a second and third round?
I don't know. I thought he won the fight, but
it was an ugly one.
If you didn't give it to him, I don't think it was a robbery because it was close.
Yeah, like you said, close fight, but it's just it's a tough watch, man. Seeing these two guys just get sloppy in there.
He said he did tear his ACL in the first round.
Who, Kuniev or Blades?
No, Curtis
Blades. I mean, what's with all the injuries? Meniscus tear.
I mean,
ACL
no
tear,
one's 100%
Achilles.
going into a fight.
No. But it's like an epidemic right now.
Yeah, it is. So unfortunately, I don't know what to do with this guy. So we'll see. Uh Olin
Mike,
Olin, how do you pronounce his
yeah, horrible.
Olimbai?
Yeah,
He's dominant. He just needs
he
to get
just
the weight in check.
he's not going to make 155. I'll tell you that. We knew this
Yeah.
coming in. We talked about it. I said that's going to be the guy you asked me about who's going to be an issue on the scale, and I called him exactly out and exactly
Yeah.
proved it right. 10-pound missed weight. The UFC may try to book him in, but you know how they are. They may look at that and be like, dude, 170. You make quick work of this guy making his debut. You know, luckily you even got the matchup. You know, at the end of the day, a guy normally wouldn't accept that fight. A 10-pound weight miss is way too much, and he only did it to Tofik Musayev because he was fighting in his backyard. So, you know, Orablai kind of knew the situation and wrote it out. Maybe gave up on cutting the weight a little bit early, knowing that he wasn't going to come close. So it's unfortunate to see that. Like we talked about, maybe we need to see a little more penalties when it comes, maybe a point taken with the weight misses.
You saw it even at post conference when Dana White, they asked him about Olimbai, and they said, "Oh, future champ." He goes, "Future champ. Let's get this guy on the scale correctly. The guy who missed weight." So Dana not very happy about that, which is very understandable. But
Absolutely.
he is dominant if he could stay on weight. I mean, round of applause.
Yes.
Nazim Sadikov and Nilika Samata, fight of the fucking year.
Yeah,
I mean,
double bonus. Double
and
performance
I'm
bonus.
so happy they both got it. They both got $100,000, the fight of the night and performance of the night. It was just amazing. I'm so happy for them. Nicholas Mata put together what 70 something strikes.
70
in a row.
consecutive punch streak. Yeah.
I said, bro, calm down just a second. And Nas just was
Lucky Mark Smith wasn't in there. Mark Smith would have called that after 30.
Yeah, honestly, that was the problem. I don't think Nas was in any danger, and he said he wasn't. He was just worried about if the ref was going to stop it.
That one body shot to the liver aired him out. It did drop him, of course, and he admitted that. But no, he was in there. He wasn't really phased. But Mata brings it every time, man. He's an excited fighter. He deserved the bonus, and you do that. It just increases your stock. So Mota will get a favorable matchup, I think, next time out. But look out for Sarah Longo's Nazim Sadikov. I think he's the truth. He looks like a very talented fighter.
100%. So he said it was kind of like his championship. He had his MSG moment. He had his Baku moment in his home country, Azerbaijan. So happy for Naz. And hopefully he could get on a car with Merab. That'd be very cool.
Yeah.
What else?
Tough
one for the Welsh gangster, man. The South Koreans are good.
He's got good grappling. Seung Cole. Yeah, really good. Outclassed him with the exchanges on the ground. Controlled him throughout the hole. It was dominant. Sort of like what happened after the foul with our boy, the Iron Turtle.
Well, I do think the Welsh gangster will be back. I think he'll be good. So tough one, and maybe it'll humble him a little bit. So nothing wrong with that.
The South Koreans, bro. The South Koreans, man.
Yeah, my boy, the Iron Turtle. They tried to cheat him. It should have been a DQ. Should have been a DQ. They gave this guy so many fucking warnings. Guy almost. First of all, they wanted this fight to go. They wanted this fight because they're asking him, "Can you see? Can you see?" And he's like, not really saying yeah. And they said, "Oh yeah, he could fight." And I'm sitting there like, "Oh no, this might not be good." And then he comes out there and dominates fucking him in the
and that's round. Why he's called the Iron Turtle. Can't break him.
The guy is a fucking menace. I love him.
Love that dude.
But yeah, shout out Jun Young Park. He got the big win. You don't know women.
I was gonna say, you know who doesn't know women? Yeah. Your boy.
Shout out the Russian and the Polish girl, man. Claudia and Daria. Big underdogs.
Big underdogs. Passion. I wonder who had enough gall to take them.
Yeah, right.
They would have came up.
And shout out Muhammad Usman. Got the unanimous decision win there too. So very kind of lackluster card without the fight of the year. I mean, this card was kind of boring, but it was good to get it over with around 6-7 o'clock at night. I'll say that.
Yeah.
But how did you do? Because I went 3-1. The only thing I did not hit was my where did I not hit? It was my co-main event. I took Nacho.
Hey, I think you got to add another one to that because you hit with Andrei Arlovsky. I hit my picks in BKFC last week, so it propelled me to an 8-8 record. I went 500, and man, I'm hoping with all the picks I got this weekend, I'm gonna be soaring up the leaderboard.
Yeah. All right, kid. Yeah, BK, shout out Jessica. I got the win in her debut, and Andre Arlovsky, shout out him. But I think honestly, it was all ultimately overshadowed, even Khalil Roundtree's performance, by John Jones, the great John Jones, just retiring fucking by a phone call. Obviously, everything comes out afterwards. And it just sucks, forget him as a person, but him as a fighter and just his accolades and everything that he was accomplished in the sport. And for that to just be like, yeah, he's done in a press conference on the other side of the world is kind of crazy to me.
Yeah. Very uninterested, or doesn't have his finger on the pulse, unfortunately, for it. Dragged out the division. We could have seen Tom fight maybe already. Or we could have had seen him fight if he were to just to, accept it and just take the fight. I guess it doesn't add anything to his legacy, but it would have done something for us as fans being able to see him one last time. But we got robbed of that, and that's it. That's the way the story ends for John Jones.
Yeah, I do think, though, the way he's like rage tweeting, if you guys follow him on Twitter and whatnot, I do think he will be back. Just the way he's
he's trolling. Yeah, there's something there.
He's a major troll.
Like, what is it like with the retirement? Does that pull him out of testing? Does that do something, give him an advantage in some way where, he doesn't have to behave like other fighters? Being retired, you technically can get out of certain things. I don't know, but
yeah, I don't know either. Maybe since Tom is the undisputed champ now, maybe he'll go fight. He said he wants to be active, which I believe him. He's gonna fight another fight or two. Maybe John just wants more tape on him. Maybe it's a strategic move. Who the hell knows? I don't think, and I don't think
two birds, one stone, like you said, maybe to get more footage on him and to build his name even more. He's a big star. Tom Aspinall is in the eyes of UFC hardcores, but I still feel like he hasn't bridged the gap to most casuals. I do feel like that's still there. So, a couple more dominant title defenses, and the whole world's talking about the baddest man on the planet, the UFC heavyweight champ. So we'll see if that comes to fruition.
They need to bring back Francis. That's the fight to make. I know everyone's saying
that would be excellent. I wonder what the PFL is going to do about that. Like, are they going to be able to control that, or they're going to have to give in? I think
I don't know. We'll
it
see.
Should, but
they should. They have so much. But Dana's not going to co-promote either.
There's going to be no co-promotion there. That's what my thing is. It's going to be, UFC's way or the highway, pretty much.
Fickle. Hey. That's the problem. But all right, kid, before we get to UFC 317, a quick word from our sponsor. We are brought to you each and every episode by Viva Tequila Seltzer, the most refreshing hard seltzer on the market, hands down. There's no wonder why Viva was voted #1 hard seltzer in the world by San Francisco World Spirit Competition. With only 88 calories, 0 carbs, 0 sugar, and a light 4.5 ABV. Viva is the perfect drink for your post-game celebration, as it was created with that active lifestyle in mind. We flavor tequila seltzer because flavor is the spice of life, and we like our drinks. So just a kick. Just like how we like our lives, whether it's Huckleberry playing around the golf with the boys or an elderberry watching UFC 317, it doesn't matter. Our favorites pair perfectly with our Artisanal Blanco tequila for that subtle and refreshing drink. I believe here at Axe Kick Picks and at Viva is to live long, live well, and live it up. Joe, that might have been the best ad read I've done in a fucking while. I was
spit-fired, super hot fire.
You ever see one of those commercials where like, this is pronounced by that was me, right?
Yeah.
But all right, kid, let's get to it. UFC 317 at the T-Mobile Arena in Sin City, lovely Las Vegas. We got the early prelims start off at 7:00 here on the East Coast. Why don't you start us off? What do you got
for International Fight Week, brother? How did the scales look? They had weigh-ins this morning, right? Everyone made it.
Yeah, I think for the most part, everybody made weight. I'll double check it for you while you.
No. I normally see the fighters that we have on this card not really having that much of an issue making the scale. So
yeah,
the first fight of the night, I know.
One. 23 of 24. Christopher Edward came in.
He was way late. 10 pounds overweight.
Yeah, so his fight with Jackson McVeigh is removed.
So they got Jackson McVeigh. That's what I was gonna say first. Because Cedricus Dumas was supposed to fight Jackson McVeigh, and he ruined his opportunity. And now, Ewart coming in as a last-minute replacement, I also squandered his. So I guess that fight is off. I had no official play for it either, so doesn't matter. We're impartial to it. So let's go on to the heavyweight division. I mean, that's the fight that I'm seeing will take place now first, right? Yep. Jonathan Deniz as a minus 300 is taking on Alvin Hines. Butterbean. Reincarnate. Everyone's joking about saying he looks like that. Big dog plus 290 and up. I'm going to officially lean Jonathan Deniz. The thing is, I know Alvin Hines is undefeated and he has a lot of finishes on his record, but look at the level of competition he's fought and their records and how they look. I mean, they're cans. Let's be real about it. Jonathan Deniz has fought some of the best competition in K1 and Glory, and he's done so far in the UFC pretty well. I think his grappling is coming along, and if it stays standing, I think he'll cruise to a victory. So give me Jonathan Deniz as an official lean because he's minus 300. I don't know which way to necessarily take it since, I'd probably KO, TKO, and decision is on the board. Maybe you want to squeeze it down with a double chance or something along those lines. But probably the submission would lie with Hines, maybe like a Hail Mary submission just to get him out of there. Let's go into the welterweights next. I see Nico Price is – my goodness, man. That's one of the biggest odd discrepancies I've seen in quite a while. Is Jacoby Smith the biggest favorite in UFC history? Is this what I'm seeing? What do you say about that? Is that the case? I got Jacoby Smith here, minus 1,500 on average. Even some books have him minus 2,200 and up. And Nico Price is a plus 1,200 on some books. I got to officially lean Jacoby Smith, man. The Oklahoma State wrestler looks legit. He's knocking people out on the feet because he's not scared to go to the ground. I just don't know which way to take him, right? We haven't seen a submission really from the guy, but I feel like he could definitely get one. So you got to lean that guy to that big of a favorite. Any prop, any pick is probably not going to be that profitable, but let's get that record padded. I got this next fight is a lightweight matchup, 155 pounds between T-Rex McKinney, Terrence McKinney, minus 155, taking on Vyacheslav Borshev at plus 155. Slava Klaus, he has finishes on his record, but I feel like he's kind of lost that, I don't know, that real aggression that he had early in his career, right? To kind of come out there and get a finish in the first round. I feel like he's tactical enough to maybe thwart what McKinney's going to throw his way in that first, though. I think that they're looking at the books. This fight they're saying it's going to end in the first round. I'm going to go on the record and say that it doesn't finish in the first round. I feel like what I said about Slava Klaus is going to come out true, that he can at least get to the second. He could, if it gets dragged out a little bit, he could wind up victorious. I think Terrence McKinney has more ways to win. You just worry about that gas tank as the fight drags on, especially if he comes out as explosive as he normally does. If you're going to suspect that the fight ends in the first round, I'd say pick Terrence McKinney, the first round win, first round KO, TKO, first round, whatever you feel comfortable in that first round for him, because that's more or less what's going to happen if he's the victor. But I'm going to go out and say that this fight will start round 2 at plus 110. After there, it could go either way, so I don't have to pick a side. But I think it's a possible bet that they get out of the first round, though it may be a fast and furious one. Let's see that we get the start of round 2 at plus 110. I'll take that. No official play in for me for the next one. Maybe D-Rock has something for you. I don't know. Flyweight division matchup between Viviane Araújo, who's a dog, taking on Tracy Cortez. Minus 235 favorite, rightfully so. D-Rock, do you have anything?
Yeah, this might be my favorite play on the prelims, if I'm being honest. Bounce back spot here for Tracy Cortez. She is obviously coming off that loss to Rose Namajunas. And to be honest, the fight really wasn't all that competitive. I was in the building in Denver. Even though she was laying some juice, I think this is still a buy low spot here for Tracy Cortez. I think the two main reasons why she struggled in that last fight, the first, she took it on short notice and she was preparing for someone totally different, wrestler Miranda Maverick. The other issue is that she faced a style that's likely to be her hardest test, a rangy striker who could defend takedowns and play her game. And I think on Saturday, she's facing neither of those problems. She's put a full camp in for Araújo, and she's ready to bring the fight to her. And I think Araújo, she's going to be shooting those takedowns. And I just think physicality is going to be in Cortez's side in this one. So I'm going to take her. I like her via points as well at minus 190, but I think Tracy Cortez is the right side here.
Yeah, not bad. Not bad. Yeah, I don't know how much a finish would be in line in that one there. If someone's willing enough to take it, man, kudos to you. But let's go into a fight where I think someone's going to sleep. This featherweight matchup, I think, is possible to still fight of the night. You know what I mean? Your boy Haider Ramil is here, undefeated as he is getting a dog price at plus 140 because they look at the possible age gap, I think, between Jose Delgado as a favorite at minus 145. I mean, I like both guys a lot. Hyder Emil fighting out of El Nino, Gilbert Melendez's camp. You know, he's a guy, and he's definitely going to go for the kill. But I do agree with the age gap, man. You know, anything with a 9+ year age gap, 75% of the time they come out victorious. I like what I've seen from Jose Delgado a lot. I think he as well matches the style of Hyder Emil, and so it'll be a treat for the fans in this one. But I'm going to go with Jose Delgado getting the best of Hyder Emil and getting him out of there. I think you could play this down the middle at the fight to end KO TKO. Dylan may be fading me, be going with his boy Hyder Emil via KO TKO, but I'm going to take Jose Delgado via KTO at plus 375.
Nothing, kid.
Nothing. Not touching it with a 10-foot pole, huh?
Nope. It's should be a good fight though. Should be a barn burner.
Totally should be. Let's go into this 185-pound matchup between Jack Hermansson and RoboCop Gregory Rodriguez. Hermansson coming off the couch, even though he was a win against Joe Pyfer last year, he's a dog at plus 195 because I think you look at the explosiveness and the capability of Gregory Rodriguez. I mean, the size as well. Dude's kind of a freak in there as well. And he's shown a little bit of improvement on the gas tank side of things. They favor him minus 210, man. I'm going just based off, and it's this formula has worked for me before because you look at some inconsistent fighters, namely, what's our boy, Touchy Feely, right? Wins one, loses one, wins one, loses one, and that formula has worked well for us. And you look at Gregory Rodriguez, it's time for him to get a victory. You know, hasn't strung together the wins as we would like to see for a guy with all this potential, but it's a get-back fight. And though Jack Hermansson's tough, I think the size will come into play. And Gregory Rodriguez could finish him early. Jack Hermansson's best way to victory is dragging this out as well, getting it to the later rounds and possibly finishing him there or just winning on the judge scorecard's points. And don't sleep on Jack Hermansson's ground game. He's got really good jiu-jitsu and he can definitely utilize it, but Gregory Rodriguez is a black belt, so I don't think he wants to go there. So with more ways to win, got to take RoboCop. I don't know which prop to give you guys, so I think I'll play the minus 210 here. I know you got to lay a little bit more to do so, but I think anything's, you know, possible in this fight.
Yeah, I'm going to take the dog here, Jack Hermansson. If he could withstand that first round, I could definitely see him rattling off rounds 2 and 3, and you see a split decision win for Jack Hermansson. That's just how it kind of goes. You saw it in the Jared Kennedy fight with RoboCop. If he doesn't really put you out, I don't know. We saw the same thing with Joe Pyfer. Jack Hermansson has it, man. He could really win this fight. So I don't know. I could see a split decision here win for Jack. I'll take the dog money. I think he's live here. He just has to withstand the first 5 minutes.
Yeah, you're right. Similar fighters he's fought in the past, and he does a good job. He's a gamer, Jack Hermansson is. So may the best man win in that. We're going head-to-head in that matchup before the main card, which you've just arrived to. So they're kicking it off for UFC 317 and 135 pounds. So the bantamweights take center stage, and we got Peyton Talbot kicking off the card at plus 155. He's got a tough opponent here. Felipe Lima is no joke. Minus 165, favored it, even though he's the last-minute replacement. I got to hear your opinion. You definitely got to play on this, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, have fun, Peyton Talbot. You just lost one, and then they fed you to the fucking Sharks with Felipe Lima. I mean, Talbot was dominated against Hani Barcelos in his last fight, and he was the biggest favorite on the card, but his poor takedown defense was exposed, and now he returns against another highly touted prospect who is, I feel like, a stylistic nightmare for him. On the feet, Lima throws more volume than Talbot and has shown better durability thus far in the UFC. So as long as he could avoid Peyton Talbot's power, I think Felipe Lima, he's going to use his wrestling, his BJJ, and I think he's going to win. I think he's the better fighter, so I'll take him on the money line.
I like that, man. I think Felipe Lima, not that he's live, he's favorited. So, you know, you're going with the, you know, lines here. I like it a lot, man. I'm seeing that Peyton Talbot has probably going to have a little bit of more reach, right? He's going to have a little bit of size on Felipe Lima, but I do agree. He's more aggressive. Look at the body types too. You know, Felipe Lima, you know, you could see, I don't know necessarily if it's just like the way it is or the age or anything like that, but Felipe Lima looks to be in better shape at the weight class, right? Peyton Talbot, you know, and the aesthetics aren't everything, but maybe that goes into what work they're putting in their camps, right? You know, iron sharpens iron. we know that Felipe Lima's training camp is a bunch of killers and that he's getting some of the best training around in Brazil. So Peyton Talbot, what camp is he fighting at? Let's see here. Reno Academy of Combat. You know what I mean? Like, not really on the map. No disrespect whatsoever. But I feel like that
they're no syndicate.
Yeah, MMA Lab, who's hot this year in 2025. Like, these big camps right now. These camps right now, they're a lot bigger. They're pushing out a lot of talent. They're not yes menning, and I don't know if that's necessarily what's happening with Peyton Talbot. So, though that be the case,
we get it, Joe. They're not no Sarah fucking Longo, Jim.
They're not no Sarah Longo. Okay. But, like I said, he's going to have reach. You said he has the power. I guess that comes into play if he hits you at the end of punches. I do see that he could catch Felipe Lima with those shots. To play it down the middle, under 2.5 rounds is the play for me. It's plus 165. I don't see how the odds makers aren't seeing that this fight could end inside the distance either way. Like I said, Felipe Lima has that finishing ability. Though he has gone to the judges, man, it could go either way inside the distance, I feel like, in this one. So give me under 2.5 rounds at plus 165. I want to see a finish for the first fight of the main card. So the lightweights take the next matchup. Beneil Dariush is back. He's getting his matchup with Renato Moicano. Moicano cannot afford to lose in this one, but Benny has something to say about that. Plus 100, Benny is. Money Moicano is minus 110, man. I gotta just give my flowers to Benny Dariush. I think we don't give him enough credit for as smart of a fighter that he is, and he goes out there, he puts a fight on for the fans. So he's an entertaining guy, and I think he's a fan favorite in that regard. But he's just very, very smart, very business savvy kind of guy. I think we've taken him for granted in his career a little bit here. You look at this last two fights, he got finished, right? He got finished pretty bad here. I don't think people understand that, why I'm saying we underappreciated Benny Dariush is because I really don't think people understand how close he is to retiring here. I think if Renato Moicano beats him here, I think we see Benny Dariush put the gloves down. So, and that's not bad, like, for him, right? Like I said, he's that smart that he can literally step out and make money doing anything in this life. Like, Benny Dariush could go out and become an advocate for the sport, trying to push, universal health care for retired fighters. It's not that they need any type of pension or anything. I think they make enough money. I think they make good money, especially when you fight for as long as you can. You can be taken care of there financially, but he's the type of guy that is smart enough to go and help advocate for fighters in the future. And I feel like it's not the end you see of Benny Dariush, even though this is a tough matchup with the very highly motivated Money Moicano.
Never duplicated, never intimidated,
man. And I'm waiting for, to hear the post-fight, interview for both of these guys and what they have to say, because it's going to be insightful. But like I said, guys, get your notebooks out, get ready to write what you have to write down, because they're going to give you some knowledge, like I said, in investments and just life in general. These two guys are class acts, but I got to go with, like I said, the guy who looks like he's in it right now, and not, unfortunately, 1 foot out the door like I'm seeing a little with Benny. I do see Benny, like I said, with a loss 3 consecutive, and especially if he gets finished, I see him going out in the sunset with this one. He's too smart to not, in my opinion. And he knows that, staying in this game too long, it's going to get you out eventually. So it's best he goes out on his terms. So, yeah, Money Moicano, but get ready for the post interviews with these guys. I love they too.
Yeah, I think you nailed it in the first sentence. He cannot afford to lose. I don't know if you saw, but Kraken or something, Money Moicano's in a commercial. Fan-fucking-tastic. Guy could act. He educates you. But unlike a fighting note, you mentioned it, 3 losses in a row. His IQ, though, I think goes under my... I don't think it's shown how smart of a fighter Beneil Dariush actually is. I just think age has caught up to him. He's a family man now. He wants to spend more time with his family. And I just don't think this is the sport you could have 1 foot in and 1 foot out. Money Moicano has a family, but he is married to the game. and he cannot afford to lose right now. He needs to buy more Bitcoin, and that is what we're going to see. So put all your money into Bitcoin responsibly if you have, but I got to go Money Morcano. I got him at minus 110.
Both big Bitcoin guys.
I'm glad they're running it back, the matchmakers, though.
They needed to. There's a chance if Benny wins that he retires still. Right out of the sunset. Yeah, man. Like you said, how intelligent the man is. Sometimes you just go out on your own terms.
Hey, I hear you.
So let's go into the featured bout here. I like this one. The timetable works out for the winner of this matchup to possibly get the winner of the co-main event, that championship bout for the flyweight division. So we have Brandon Royval here, who was ready and waiting for whoever it was going to be. We thought it would be Manel Kape, right? But the foot injury has taken him out, and Josh Fan was willing to accept the short notice fight. And I mean, he's on a roll right now, and so much so that the odds makers have him as a favorite. So Brandon Royval is a dog, plus 110. Joshua Van is minus 115. You know, I love everything about Josh Van. You know, the volume is definitely there. I think we have yet to maybe see some of the ground game a little bit, as I spoke about before. But Royval does have a full game, full arsenal at his disposal. And, you know, though he's fought Pantoja twice and lost twice, you know, the first time was, you know, really early in his career. And the second time was a really close fight. He really, you know, made a run for Pantoja's money in that one. And you may see that, you know, from time to time from the champion, but I do like Raw Dog, man. Like I said, he's crafty in this, and he could find a way to take Joshua Van's back. He could find a way to get some sort of submission where I haven't seen Josh Van in those positions yet. We've seen Royval in those positions, and I feel like he's comfortable there, and I feel like he'll be comfortable on the feet. I think Josh Van's gonna want to, you know, stay on the feet, but be careful. Royval could have something up his sleeve. So, yeah, man, I like the dog price for Brandon Royval. I think he's sneaky in here, and I think he's trying to get back to the title. I argue that even with the win here, he gets the shot, even though he's lost twice to Pantoja, especially even if Pantoja retains. So we have yet to see, but we'll see what the fallout is after this. Give me the dog, Brandon Royval. Raw Dog.
Raw Dog, baby. What a fucking name. Yeah, I love Brandon Royval. I love Joshua Van. I think it's a win-win for him. He gets this experience against a really top-level guy. And even if he loses, I think he'll be back in this title contention. So it wasn't the best start for Van in his UFC career. Then he went 4-0, 3 decisions, and then he got a knockout. So he's looked good. So it's crazy. I was looking at Circa, a big gambling site out in Vegas. 57% of the bets are on Royval, while 57% of the money is on Joshua Van. So this is your typical pros versus Joes matchup.
Pros being the money, right?
Pros being the money, correct, yes. I'm going to be on the Joe side, man. I'm going to take Royval here. I like the underdog price, and I think he wins via decision here. I mean, like I said, Joshua Van has nothing to lose, and I think everything to gain. If he beats Royval, he gets a title shot. The boss man said it himself. Now, if he loses, he walks away with high-level experience that he couldn't get anywhere else, and a really good guy who's fought for the belt twice already.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I feel like with the way this booking came, short notice fight, I think Royval with the experience, I know he's a rising star, and I know he has knockout potential, but I think Royval's going to be able to weather the storm a little bit. He had a full camp.
Thank you.
And I think this is a very good fight. I don't mind who wins, but I'm a big fan of Raw Dog.
Yeah. I like him as a person and as a fighter. I know Raw Dogging.
Yeah. I know Raw Dogs if I see him.
So, and that matchup means a lot for the fallout of this co-main event. For the UFC Flyweight Championship, we have the defending champ 3 times already, 3 successful defenses in a row, trying to make it 4 against KKF, man. Alexandre Pantoja is a favorite on the books, minus 215. And as I said, Kai Kara-France, KKF, is a dog at plus 200. D-Rock, I need your opinion on this co-main event.
Real quick, I'm just going to ask you, don't blink.
Ooh.
Fucking
Oh God.
Kai
You're
Kara.
more. You look like him.
France, baby. Champion Kai or Kai Champion. We got to workshop that or something with,
His
like,
real name, not the one that
It's
they don't.
James.
I know, not James. The one that he got from Ferrari.
Yeah.
Kawari, right?
Kawari or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. As good as the striker and knockout power that Kai has, not so quick. I don't think it's going to be enough to beat the champion, Pantoja. Pantoja, he can match, I think, the power of Kai Kara-France, and he has the durability. When he comes out to Man, he's going to go from a -250 to a -800. I mean, everyone is going to be live betting this guy. I think the biggest disparity on a real note overall is the ground game of Pantoja. You know, time and time again, Pantoja has been able to dictate where the fights are going to go.
Yeah, if he gets in trouble, boom,
take him down and kind of lean him. If he's losing the fight, he'll come into the clinch. And I know Kai's good. He trains with the fucking killers as City Kickboxing, and he has good takedown defense as well. But I just think the world-class jiu-jitsu of Pantoja, I think he could grapple his way to another title defense. And I just think he's too good, man. I love Kai Kara-France. I think he's a hell of a fighter. I love the storyline. This is a rematch of The Ultimate Fighter. And I think Kai Kara-France has come a really long way. And I wouldn't be mad if he won.
From their Ultimate Fighter matchup originally. Remember that?
I just think Pantoja's a little better right now. And that's no disrespect to Kai.
No,
I gotta take Pantoja. I'll take him via decision.
Man, as much as Kai Kara-France has evolved, Pantoja has become a champion and has defended 3 times in that amount of time. Like, we've seen the evolution of Pantoja into the fighter that he is. And once he became the champion, he became twice the fighter that he even was then. So everything that Kai Kara-France was doing, Pantoja was doing better during all that time. And he already beat him. He already has a win. And yes, it's the hardest thing to do in sports, in fighting, is to beat an opponent twice. But I do think Pantoja has the tools, and he has everything you said, the durability, the power, the speed. We saw him come out in that nice, tight Muay Thai stance against Kai Asakura, fighting another Kai. I think he's comfortable with the name. You know, it's no surprises. 2 Kais back-to-back. I think the Cannibal will eat him up, man. I got Alexander Pantoja on the money line because I think this is his fight. I think, like I said, if the going gets tough, he can utilize his grappling. But I think he's willing enough and has the talent and skill to stay on the feet and bang and trade with Kai Kara-France. I don't think he's going to veer away from the power. And that's the X factor for Kai Kara-France, is that if he catches him early, that's his best chance to win. But as it weighs on, we see Pantoja's tank, and he drains his opponents every single time with that grappling, with the pressure to defense, with the octagon aggression, just everything Pantoja does and works on. He becomes a better fighter every time out. And I hope to see the same for this next one. I'm with you. I'm with Alexander Pantoja on the money line because I think anything's on the table. He could submit him, he could finish him, or he could win dominantly on the judges. So, and still for the co-main event. And now, here we are in the main event of International Fight Week for UFC 317, and it's for the UFC Venkat Lightweight Championship, man. Whew. Wow. This is crazy. You know, the hearts of millions are with Charles Oliveira, right? You know, I know there are a lot of fans of Ilia Topuria as well, but it seems like a lot of the masses are siding with the dual Bronx, man. At plus 360, the odds makers are counting him out. Ilia Topuria is a minus 410 favorite. You know, I teased you, all week, Charlie, right? He's illuminated by God, and I love him, and he has the most finishes in UFC history and the most submissions, and he's a bona fide finisher, and he's got some size advantage. But what he likes to do is he likes to take a shot, before he really locks in. And I just don't think you can do that with Ilia Topuria, man. I mean, this dude's boxing is just too crisp, too fast. And you thought that he had power at 145. I think he's comfortable at 155, and his power is going to be even more immense. I think he's going to be a tough task for anybody at 155. And look, man, let's face facts. Regardless if you think Islam wanted to fight at 170, wanted to be a double champ there, you could argue he ran away from Ilia Topuria. So I'm going with the El Matador here. I think he's a superstar. I think he's one of the biggest stars on the planet, and I think he continues his ways. And Charles Oliveira cannot select and not collect a single shot from Ilia Topuria in this one, because if he does, he's getting knocked out. So my play is Il Matador, Ilia Topuria via KO TKO at -145. And I'm going to go and take that straight up and parlay it with the cannibal pick. So taking Ilia Topuria via KO TKO and Alexander Pantoja on the money line for the International Flyweight Championship parlay of +150. And those are my plays for 317.
Yeah, I just feel bad that it's Charles, if I'm being honest. I think he's so beloved by everyone. And I'll say this. I think the line is very disrespectful. Not disrespectful. But I don't disagree. Like, yes, I think two things could be true. I think it could be, wow, Charles Oliveira in a championship fight, +340. Oh, wait, he's versing a fucking killer in Ilia Topuria. Yeah, I kind of understand now. So this is his second fight at lightweight. He did get dropped by Jai Herbert with that head kick back in 2021, but I don't know. I got to take Topuria via KO TKO. Charles keeps saying this week, I'm going to come forward. And maybe he's just saying that, but I don't think he's a liar, and I believe him.
I believe him.
And I don't want him to, because if you do that, you are going to get knocked out.
Take him down. But even then, I'm scared. Like, Ilia Topuria is a great grappler and has some nasty submissions.
But he's nowhere near Charles Oliveira. Oliveira.
No. There is a gap there. You know, not only,
and I don't think Topuria's going to
talent, but accolades too.
Yeah, and I don't think Topuria is stupid enough to bring the fight to the floor. So I'm going to take the Ilia Topuria via KO TKO at -164. I mean, even inside the distance is at -300. Another line that really caught my eye, over 1.5 rounds is very enticing at -120. It's a very playable number. And, you know, Oliveira hasn't been knocked out since 2017. And, you know, he's going to keep his distance, I think, in the beginning if he chooses to. So if that happens, I can see this playing out to the second, third round, maybe, and then getting knocked out. But I think maybe kind of the same way he finished Max Holloway in round 3. But I don't know. I just think ultimately he is going to get knocked out. And I like over 1.5 rounds. I think that's a very playable number.
It's crazy because you would think that as the fight goes on, it may favor Charles, but I think the opposite. I think earlier it favors Charles if he can go hunt the finish. As the fight breaks on, I think Topuria gets favored.
I agree. All right, kid. Well, enjoy the fights.
Yes,
and good luck International Fight Week. This is kind of their Super Bowl. So enjoy. Oh, by the way, I don't know if you watched it yesterday, but it was so good to see all the people get inducted into the Hall of Fame. Robbie Lawler was emotional. He was like, thank you. I was like, no, thank you, Robbie.
Thank you, Robbie.
Yeah.
The boys had fun. Kelvin and Israel, you know, they had a good time.
Oh, yeah. I mean, what a fucking war that was.
Oh,
he was prepared to die, and I believe him.
I believe him.
All right, kid, let's get to it. We'll go to boxing. The problem child, Jake Paul, taking on Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. And put some respect on him. He is a world champion now.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't take that away. He is.
Holly Holmes on the card.
I mean, what MVP, on a serious note, what MVP is doing for women's boxing, amazing. If you're a woman, you should go to MVP.
Yeah, exactly. You should. You're going to get paid well, and you're going to get promoted well. So he's doing it right.
Look at Amanda Serrano in a few weeks.
That's right. It's Katie Taylor again, yeah?
Yeah. At the Mecca.
How you doing?
On Netflix.
Gotta love it.
I love it.
Yeah, man. I do think Holly Holm will win, but I don't think you could really play her. I thought those odds were really
she's Hall of Famer.
Yeah, she's gonna win. Come on now. I don't think she lost like twice in boxing, and she got one of the losses she lost back. Like, she's legit. Yeah. She's gonna win even at her age. It don't matter.
She's too legit to quit.
Too legit, bro. And you know, Jake Paul, he's the main event. He's doing what he's doing for the women's boxing and maybe what he's doing for real boxing, but
yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how you could have him as a -550 favorite. Is it just alone on the knockout power?
That left hook is lethal.
It's lethal, bro. But you know, as you've seen Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. at times why I was disgruntled with him is because at times he just doesn't want it. Like he's not like he wasn't like his father. Obviously, that just comes with the circumstances. Like, they were talking about Cristiano Ronaldo. Like, he came through dire circumstances, and it made him everything he is today. But they said the same for his son. They're not saying that. And then look at Julio Cesar Chavez Sr.
Yeah,
man, look what he had to come from, what he's done in his career, because what he come from, Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. was, fortunate to come up and under his father's boxing lifestyle, and we see more and more now with these, sons of ex-boxers becoming boxers themselves. So following in their footsteps and becoming, champions. So is he taking it serious? Right? Like, that's like the biggest question here. What I've seen, the footage and with the camp and also the aesthetics, like I said, I think coming in shape and looking the part also weighs a lot into it. I think this is the best I've ever seen Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. I got to admit it, man. I think this is the best I've seen. And I have seen Jake Paul's footage, and that power is there, man. But it's just the pace at times. Like, that the jab, if he could get the jab to land, it's powerful. And it could definitely set up the shots. But just based off that we have a committed and we have a, motivated Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. with his father actually there supporting him. And now looking that he's going to be ready to outbox Jake Paul in this one, I'm going to take the dog, bro. I'm going to go. I know everything
after all the shit you were talking,
everything leading up to this, bro. And the same thing as I said, as much as I was taking Charles Oliveira, bro, I can't be betting with my heart anymore. I have to be tactical about what I'm doing here. And I think he can outbox Jake Paul. Let's be real about it. He grew up doing it. He could be the faster fighter in there, and he's going to have 100% better footwork. It's just about if Jake Paul can land that shot, right? That's if you want to go ahead and play, you can play Jake Paul KO. You want to hedge it, you can play him round 6 through 10. I don't think Jake Paul catches him early when Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. is fresh. I think if Jake Paul's going to catch him, it should be rounds 6 through 10, which I saw was like a plus 330 or something like that. So just throwing that out there for you. But my official play will be Chavez Jr. via decision at plus 1,000, because I don't think he'll get Jake Paul out of there. But like I said, for 10 rounds, mind you, it's not a 12-rounder. It's 10 rounds, 3 minutes. He could get Jake Paul tired, and if he doesn't get caught late, I think he cruises to a decision. So I'm taking Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. After all the shit I talked, he's kind of proved to me that he's ready for this, and I'm going against what I thought.
Crazy.
Yeah, so let's go plus 1,000 on Chavez Jr. via decision.
Yeah, Jake Paul minus 700 that I'm seeing right now. Chavez plus 450 on the money line. This fight, in my opinion, feels like a Jake Paul domination, but money line is too steep. Instead, I'm going to look at some value plays here. He's the younger fighter, plus 140 to win by KO TKO. I think that's good. He has fight-ending power facing an opponent 11 years older who he's accumulated much more damage over the years, and him winning by knockout and catching Julio Cesar Chavez would not surprise me. So plus 140, I think, is a good play. Another option to consider, I think, is a knockdown prop. Even if Paul were to win by decision, I could see him catching Chavez early on and maybe dropping him to the canvas. So you could get that. The over a half a knockdown is at plus 150. I like that as well. Also worth considering is playing Paul to win by decision. If you think Chavez is durable coming into this fight enough to last, you can bet that at even money at plus 100, Jake Paul to win by decision. So I like that. I think this fight is going to be good, better than I think people anticipated. And, just expect to be prepared to some bumpy moments in this fight. So should be good. It's a 10-round main event scheduled for 11 p.m. at the Honda Center in Anaheim, California on DAZN.
And they have a boxing math would say that you're right. Jake Paul should win this because head-to-head matchup, Anderson Silva, Chavez Jr. got dog walked in that one, and we know Jake Paul beat Anderson. So there you go. That's just a little bit of caveat just to kind of give your your pick some merit, and then possible mine. Mine could be live too. And I going into it, like I said, I really think Jake Paul was the right side. But there's a lot of value in Chavez Jr. And I'm liking what I'm seeing. I know he's almost 40, but mine is more a value pick. So I know everything was mine this weekend, but in this boxing, I am going a little hard for the value.
All right, kid, let's get to some news. Noche UFC main event, Lopez taking on Lord Silva, September 13th, 5-round featherweight main event. Got 2 Brazilians for a Noche UFC card.
Should have been Diego Lopez and Yair Rodriguez.
Yeah, for what I think he's dealing with that injury. It's kind of
Yair?
unfortunate, but this is, I think a hand. He was saying
People are arguing that he's getting a title shot.
I don't know, because Volk was on Ariel Helwani's show yesterday, and Volk was like, "No, we're waiting for we're waiting for the winner of Pico Mozart."
Aaron Pico, knockout Mizvar.
Good main event, and Lord Silva, I think right now is the favorite. So
rightfully so,
minus 185 to plus 160.
That's a violent fight. That's going to be a good one. I think we maybe not seen Silva right too much. I mean, he had that nasty submission. But have we seen him be the nail yet? Not really, right? Not really. Might not like it. We'll see. We'll see.
Should be a really good one. A lot of people were mad. They're like, 2 Brazilians on a Mexican card. Nice. Even though Diego Lopez does train out of Mexico.
There you go. That's
I thought it was funny, though. We got a fight, 4th fight in a year for Kevin Holland. He will take on D-Rod July 19th in the Bayou UFC 318.
He's back, man. He's active again, right? Kevin Holland? Love it. Shades of 2020.
Lost via submission to RDR. He beat Gunnar Nelson. He submitted Vicente Luque, and now he's versing D-Rod. He might get 5 fights this year.
I see it. And that'll propel him into the rankings.
Yeah.
I'd love to see it.
We got UFC Shanghai main event. Zhang Ming Yang. They're getting behind this guy. Last time he knocked out Anthony Smith.
The mountain lion.
He is main eventing in Shanghai against Johnny Walker, 5-round light heavyweight main event. I like that. Obviously,
I like it for
in Shanghai.
The mountain tiger. I think he'll knock him out. I hate that for Johnny Walker. I love Johnny Walker, but damn, bro.
And then we got the chief support, T-City taking on Aljamain Sterling. I love that. Right? Honestly, a lot. Yeah, I thought a lot of people thought that was the main event, but I think it's a nice 1-2 punch in Shanghai. What did you think?
I like Aljo in that. I do, man. I feel like it's a good test for him coming off of the loss. So yeah, I'll be rooting for him too. I'll be rooting for Aljo. I do like T-City, but I feel like his time is coming. What did he talking about? 155 as well? Wasn't he talking about going up?
But
it's just you don't know whether he's coming or going, right? We know Aljo and what the path he wanted to take. He became the champion, defended a couple times, and he goes, "Look, I'm out of the division. I'm going to 145," and we've known what he wanted to do ever since then. So he's trying to become a champion, and you got to do that. You got to beat T-City. You got to beat Brian Ortega. So I like that matchup for him.
Yeah, I do too. So, kid, that was all the news I had. Just a few fights that I wanted to announce to you.
Nice. You're on the dot.
Nothing on the dot. BKFC though, what do you got? Take us away.
Yeah, brother. They're in Birmingham, England for BKFC 77. And you got the welterweight championship on the line between Connie Turney at minus 230, taking on Danny Christie at plus 200. I like the Brumtown Bomber, man. Conor Tierney, he's about 10 years younger. You see there's a trend for this weekend. It's going with the younger on the age group and the age gap. He's, a guy that stays on the outside. He's going to be a lot longer in there. Very crisp with his boxing. Danny Christie puts his head down. He tries to get you out of there. But I feel like he won't be able to collect a lot of shots. And I feel like Conor Tierney, he gets those shots added up over the course of the fight. And he could probably get Danny out of there in the later rounds. But I'm going to just play him straight up at the minus 230 on the money line because he could just win a cruise to a decision or finish the fight. So the Brumtown Bomber is legit, and he's going to become that BKFC welterweight champion.
Yeah, real quick, Deontay Wilder is taking on Terrell Herndon tonight, actually, Wichita, Kansas. He may not have a lot left in the tank, but I don't think Terrell's any match for him. He's a huge favorite, minus 1,400.
Respect for him getting in there with Deontay Wilder because Wilder's going to be coming in there to take his head off.
Yeah, I mean, I just think Terrell lacks chin, power, just the ability to box with Deontay Wilder, especially in the power. So, if anything, I don't think it lasts pretty long, and I think Wilder pounces on him. So, if you could get even Deontay Wilder via KO, TKO is minus 1,000. So, It's nothing to really play. I just wanted
Just
to
a
highlight it.
treat for us fans.
Yeah, just wanted
watch
to
it
highlight it, and I'm excited for him.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So
I know there's Cage Warriors on right now. Like literally right now.
yeah,
They're doing 2 events this weekend, so they're on a couple other things. Yo, before we go, you know how I shouted out the PFL, which is going to be on tonight? I
Mhm.
got to commit to Phil Davis getting his first submission in over 10 years. I think he'll do it via Anaconda. Watch out for that. I'm telling you, that's my prediction.
I love it. Kid, real quick, do you know where I'm gonna be tonight with Ant?
No, tell me.
I'm going to a comedy club. Not comedy club, it's at the NJ Pack, but I'm going to see a comedian.
Joey Diaz, cocksucker.
Yeah.
Ah, you never told me.
It was a spur in the moment. Ant called me today while I was at work. He goes, $30 tickets. I said,
Ah, man, I
Joey
would have came
fucking
up for
did.
that. I love
Yeah.
Uncle Joey, bro. Yo,
fucking can't
please
wait
try to
for
get
that.
a picture for me.
Yeah.
Yo. Seriously.
I will. It will be good.
right.
But everyone, good
Have
luck
fun.
this weekend. Enjoy the fights. And let's fucking go.
Cocksuckers.